Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Angie's Angles. It's October the 2nd in the year of my Lord, 2025. Welcome to a very solemn, somber, pathetic Angie's Angles, if you will. Before we go on to the Mets crash and burn segment of Angie's Angles, let's give congrats out to the Tigers, the Dodgers, and to Harold Sanderson and the Chicago Cubs, all moving forward into the divisional series. Congratulations on those teams. Now, we come to the Mets. The Mets collapse. The crash and burn. One game is all we need. Harold, congratulations on the Cubbies winning. Mazel tov, my friend. The New York Mets needed one game. One game out of 162 games. You could call it an unprecedented collapse. You could call it rarer than getting hit by lightning, for God's sakes. I can't even get out of my system. Epic. Clark, Harold, I am interstitial. The Mets. Uno mas. One game. That's all we needed. Just one. 0-67 after trailing after 8 innings. 0-67 after trailing 8 innings. That is surreal. That is absolutely crazy. That we were 0-67 after trailing in 8 innings. There was no comeback in the New York Mets. There was no pizzazz, no drama, no drive, no accomplishment. Zero, nada, niente. Whatever word you want to throw in there, that's what the New York Mets were. For God's sakes. Clark, you're making me laugh. Clark says the Cardinals only needed 25 more wins. 25 or 1, Clark, it don't matter. It don't matter if you needed 100 more wins. You're in the same boat as the New York Metropolitan. Or as we call them on Angie's Angles, the New York Pirates. Fool's gold. Personified, if you will. I mean, just one win. Carlos Mendoza, who? Carlos Mendoza could not inspire these guys. Could not pull the right triggers, could not get us one more win out of 162 games. Couldn't do it. And then you got David Stearns going on air saying, Carlos is our guy. And then the very next day, Bob Melvin and Bruce Bochy become available. I'll take either one of them. I'll take both of them. Make Bochy the manager, Melvin the bench coach, for God's sakes. Holy Hannah, for God's sakes. And Mark Brooks, my brother from another, you're not wrong, Mark. We lose 2 out of 3 to the Nationals, 2 out of 3 to Miami. We didn't deserve to be in there, for God's sakes. Top 5 in payroll. I think we were the highest payroll, Clark. One win. It reminds me of a song. 1 ton tomato. I got a 1 ton tomato. I mean, for God's sakes, we just needed 1 tomato. 1 apricot. 1 pineapple. Turn that down if you want. I don't give a crap. Get us that win any way we need, and we couldn't do it. We could not hold leads. We could not produce the winning run with men on base and no outs. Tom from Ace, what's going on, big man? Thanks for joining us, Tom. I appreciate you. The New York Metropolitans. They come out and say we're going to keep Carlos Mendoza. David Stearns kind of gave a little dig to Pete Alonso, so it's going to be an interesting watch. What's going on with Pete Alonso? Let me hear from you guys. I just don't understand how they can let Pete walk. Pete's a homegrown talent. And let me just jump on this real quick. And maybe the numbers are out there to support the comments. But Pete Alonso played a superior first base this year. He saved Vientos, Beatty, McNeil, Lindor, multiple errors. He was a pick monster. Pete Alonso is good with the glove when it comes to the pick. Throws the first base, that's a different story. We could talk about that. But let me digress a little bit. So Mendoza, you got guys that couldn't throw the ball to the plate, whether it be McNeil, Lindor, Alonso multiple times. If I'm Mendoza, we're practicing that ad nauseum the next day until your fingers are freaking ass bleeding. Throw the ball to the outside corner, third plate side of the plate, because that's where the run is coming from. I would put a bowling pin on the corner of the plate on the third base side, and you got to knock it down on the fly. That would be my training session of the day. We were ill prepared. And that goes to the coaching staff. If we don't fire our tandem coaching staff, our hitting coaches, I'm going to throw my hat into the ring. I could fix half these guys in a nanosecond and the other half in about 1.5 seconds. They were not aggressive. And Soto either hit a home run, took a walk, or grounded out to second base. Now, I have to come and do a mea culpa. Juan Soto had a much better season than Kyle Tucker down in Chicago. But I ask you, who's moving on into the playoffs? New York Metropolitans or Chicago Cubs? Harold Atkins is saying, and let's put you on the big board, Harold. I'm very concerned about the possibility of seeing him in the Bronx if Stearns blows the negotiations. I gotta believe that will never happen. I will believe that Cohen will step in and not allow that to happen. We cannot allow Pete Alonso to become a 500 home run guy in a skanky uniform. That just can't happen. And he's got a real possibility of doing it, hitting 500 home runs. We can't let that happen. Hey, Terry, welcome back from Europe. Nice to see you. We appreciate you being on here. And for the programming note, for those that don't know, Babs and I are down in Ocean City, Maryland. Tomorrow we start the 3-day Country Western Wallapalooza concert series. Brooks and Dunn, Luke Bryan, Luke Combs. What's Rhymes' first name? Leanne Rhymes. Who's that Tucker guy? Tucker Wetmore. Tucker Wetmore is going to be playing, and a host of others.
How about instead of lamenting about the mess, we start rooting for the only New York team still in it?
Oh, Ruth Buzzy's in the house in her pajamas. Styling on Angie's angles, if you
Ready
will.
for bed.
Mark Brooks says, Pete can stay or go. What about Tony Gwynn, Cal Ripken, Derek Jeter, the men that loved and were loyal to their organization? Well, I don't know. Listen, those guys were iconic members of the teams, just like Pete is. And I don't think it's Pete's decision to stay or go, Mark Brooks. I don't think so. And if one David Stern spits the bit on keeping Pete Alonso, he's going to hear a boatload of crap from this guy. Babs, Terry says, hi, Ruth, go Yankees. Eric Schuster says, go Red Sox.
Go Red Sox.
I'm with you, Eric.
Oh, man.
No Skankies for me.
Sad.
Oh, Babs is not liking me tonight. That's par for the course.
No. That's what I mean about the jealous fans.
We're not jealous. We tell it like it is.
Okay, well, you guys are not there. We still are.
Yeah, you know what? I could make us a little profit. After tonight, I could sell the Skankies very good tea times for $2,000.
Yeah, I know they have to buy them from the Mets.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We're sellers.
you are.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Harold Sanderson, Pete Alonso sadly is a Scott Boras guy. Yes, sadly, and that's somewhat of a detriment to the process. Although Boras and Cohen seem to get along pretty well, i.e., Juan Soto. So we're gonna see what happens. Let me hear from my baseball fans. Do we want to keep one Pete Alonso on the Mets? Why? And if not, where do you think he's going to wind up? Curious to hear your answers. So we've got the Chicago Cubs facing the Milwaukee Brewers for the National League Divisional Series. That's going to be an interesting matchup, in my opinion. You got Craig Counsell, the ex-Milwaukee Brewer manager, going up against his old team. On paper, I think the Cubs are a better team, but the Brewers always seem to find a way to win, so I'm not really sure. Oh, Harold Atkins is saying that his supervisor is a Phillies fan, and he's been rubbing it in ever since the playoffs began. I'm sorry for you, Harold. That sounds like grounds for harassment. Go to HR and speak to HR. So Eric Schuster wants to say that the Mets will not keep Pete Alonso and that he's most likely going to Houston. That's the odd bedfellow to me, Eric, because Houston's really not a hitter's park for Pete. Sure, you got the center field pasture, and sure, you got the gaps. But Pete's a home run hitter, and I don't see him hitting a lot of home runs in Houston. If anywhere, I'd see the following places one Pete Alonso. Sadly, I see Philadelphia. Sadly, I see the Skankies.
Go Phillies.
Sadly, I see Colorado. And sadly, I see San Francisco. Those are the 4 landing spots that I see Pete Alonso land if he's not a New York Met. So we're gonna find out sooner rather than later what's gonna happen with Pete Alonso. I mean, David Stern's doing this mea culpa and this apology tour really bothered me. Where was David Stern's tossing over tables in the clubhouse in the middle of August? Or for that matter, where was Carlos Mendoza? Who? Yeah, that guy, Carlos Mendoza. Where was he? Sometimes you have to have fire and brimstone to motivate the troops. Sometimes you have to lay on your own sword for them to realize how urgent the situation is. They had zero urgency. Zero. One win is all they needed, and they couldn't produce it.
Weren't they like third in one like top 3 worst ever finishes, like 21 loss after starting the season. So
we've got a commentary come from the bedroom from Babs. She wants to know, weren't the New York Mets the top 3 in the worst finishes in the history of baseball?
History.
I don't think it was the top 3. I think it was the absolute worst. The Tigers might have done it if they didn't recover in time. Eric Schuster, I don't disagree. I don't disagree that we need to fire Mendoza, but unfortunately, David Stearns gave the stamp of approval, and it appears that we're stuck with him unless something, with the knowledge that Bob Melvin and Bruce Bochy got terminated from their jobs and they're available, that we might reverse course and say, sorry, Mendoza, we'll pay you out for your contract, but we're bringing in either Melvin or Bruce Bochy. Either one, I would absolutely 1,000% take in a minute. And Eric Schuster, this has been bandied about on Facebook, on X. The Mets should have never displayed the pride flag during the national anthem. I commented about that on Angie's Angles back when it transpired. Diversity is not a bad thing in the world. However, there is no flag that comes before the American flag when you're singing the national anthem. I don't care what flag it is, it's the American flag. And the Mets made a huge error by showing the pride flag during the singing of the national anthem. But the Mets are also known to have the chutzpah girl throw out the first pitch on camp day. For God's sakes. I mean, Jesus, Christmas. And then they used the veteran, Michael Weiner, to advertise Seymour Weiner, rather, not Michael Weiner. Michael Weiner owned Smoke Therapy. Seymour Weiner advertising Hot Dog Day. Just leave it to the Mets to come up with these wacky ideas. All right, me and Babs are going to go out for a little pizza, a little late night dinner after the podcast. So we're going to go with the prayer circle. It's 8:47, and I'm in my hotel room. All right, this week's prayer circle, we're praying for Harold Sanderson. We're praying for Dawn Squared, Carol and Bob, and your buddy Jerry. We're praying for Terry Sanchez, safe return, thank God, from Europe. We're praying for your mom's legs, your mother-in-law, and your uncle's memory. Antoinette Brooks, I'm hearing that Mark is a eligible donor, and he's going to be donating his kidney to your brother Mike. So God bless the Brooks family. Scott Tobias, we're praying for your wife and your mom. Clark, we're praying for your brother-in-law Brad and Tricia, and happy birthday to your sister today. Linda Stein, we're praying for yourself, your dad, your hand, your house situation, etc., etc. And she wants us to keep humanity in our prayers. Kevin Elliott, Kevin Lennox, we're praying for your health challenges. Krause family, we're praying for Aubrey as she remains in remission from cancer. Devin Lee down in Maryland, we're praying for you guys. Mary Ann Bello, my good friend from high school, we're praying for your mom and yourself, young lady, out in Las Vegas. Larry Levy, we're praying for your wife, Frida, as she remains in remission. Mr. McGowan, sir, we're praying for your 6. Ralph, continued health challenges, and we're praying that you get over them. Pete and Shani down in Florida, we're praying for a new start for you guys. Congratulations to the new addition to the O'Shea family. Tom, as he still struggles from severe pneumonia. Big John, we're praying for his leg. Joe Echevarria, we're praying that your heart stays strong, just like you, sir. We're praying for Johnny Barbecue Sciatica. We're praying for John's friends, Jimmy's sister Barbara, who passed. Don't forget, if you ever have a prayer request, PM me, send me a message, text me, I don't care what you do, and we'll put it on Angie's Angles. It could be anonymous, it could be generic, it could be specific. You let me know what's going on. This has been Angie's Angles coming to you live from the Royal Princess Resort in Ocean City, Maryland. Good night. God bless. We love you.